Well, rogue CNN hosts aren't the only people taking the side of Antifa. Two professors, one at Stanford, the other at Purdue, are working to create what they're calling a campus anti-fascism network. It's national. It says its goal is to, quote, drive racists off campus. Laura Beth Nielsen is a professor at Northwestern University. She supports the creation of this network, and she joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on, Professor. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to take this seriously because I think it's a serious matter. So first, just tell me what the point of this network is.
Well, I should say, just to be perfectly clear, I'm not affiliated with the CAN network, the Campus Anti-Fascist Network. I'm a scholar of free speech and campus hate speech and those kinds of issues. So I looked at their materials, and I think their purpose is to try to, or what they say their purpose is, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve them, so is to help scholars of political theory, political science, and history to develop the kinds of courses about the history of fascism, to help college students make sense of what they're seeing in the news today, and to try to interpret what's going on politically.
Okay, so I love the term scholar because it so rarely applies to people who work in colleges, I've noticed. I went through the syllabus to this, and I read a lot of the pieces on here. Here are some of the titles. U.S. Cops and Klan, Hand in Hand. Star-Spangled Fascism. We Charge Genocide. Right-wing Populism and Awakening Fascism. Anti-Semitism in the White House under Donald Trump. So those are not scholarly articles. A lot of them are on just left-wing websites, political websites. But I decided to take it seriously, and as I said, I read one. And here's the piece on anti-Semitism. This is why this piece and this syllabus by the group you're supporting says Donald Trump is an anti-Semite, because he gave a speech saying this. Workers in the United States are making less than they made 20 years ago, yet they're working harder. We've seen the firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents. Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of American sovereignty in order to enrich these global powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. That piece says that that phrase is anti-Semitic. It holds that up as evidence that the President of the United States is an anti-Semite. That's insane. That's not scholarship. That's just lunacy.
Tucker, I don't know the article that you're referring to. I should say that the syllabus that they've put up is open source. Anyone can go on there and add an article. One of the things I like to teach my students at Northwestern is how to evaluate if something is scholarly or not. So is it a peer-reviewed? No, it's a set of ideas of scholars who are trying to talk together about how to organize these classes.
But there's no scholarship. That's the point. There's no scholarship in that.
Is that a peer-reviewed publication?
No, it's from Truth Out.
Okay, so
nothing on the syllabus is peer-reviewed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. At least the 6 ones on there that I got.
There's nothing from the American Political Science Review or the Journal of American History?
Not on the one that I had. So here's the invitation letter for the
peer-reviewed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're defending without even looking at it. So it has this.
No,
it says that I'm quoting now.
I looked at it this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Then maybe we're looking at something different. I think I was looking at the same thing. And I'm quoting now. This is from the invitation letter to this group. Since Trump's election, fascists, neo-fascists, and their allies have used blatantly Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, racist, and ableist messaging and iconography to recruit their ranks and intimidate students. Their allies? Who does that mean? It seems to me like they're tarring anybody who voted for Trump as a bigot.
No, I think what they're trying to say is that what you just reported is read from the letter is an empirical question. As scholars, we want to know if that's true. We want to look to the research about hate crimes and about incidents of hate speech and try to understand if there's something going on in this moment.
Right?
Right, they are. And what I would say is that's an empirical question. The FBI keeps hate crime statistics. I would take my kids right to look at those. Those were linked on there. So were the Southern Poverty Law Center.
What's the ableist messaging and iconography that Trump supporters are engaging in? Like, what does any of this mean? Like, it's so nonspecific that it just seems like pure political propaganda to me of the least impressive kind. Do you not see that? I mean, I don't see any scholarship in here at all, and I read the whole thing.
Well, I would say there's definitely a place in political theory, political science, and history for understanding the roots of fascism so that we can understand if we are having a fascistic moment and what anti-fascism is. And one thing that I see quite a bit right now is a conflation of Antifa or anti-fascists and anarchists. Anarchists and anti-fascists are different political philosophies. Anarchists don't believe in order. They're out there doing street violence. And maybe they're being incited, and we could talk about the free speech issues with that. But being anti-fascist means that you don't support a totalitarian government that bases loyalty, crushes opposition on the basis of nationalistic racial identity.
Yeah, that's what's so silly about all of this is that, look, whatever you think of the administration, they're not crushing opposition. In fact, opposition has grown in a way that we haven't seen in my lifetime in this country. So if it's a fascist government, this is the beginning of a fascist movement. They're doing a pretty bad job of it, aren't they?
Well, I think there has been an increase in hate crimes and hate speech towards different groups that you mentioned since the election. It's pretty well documented by both the FBI and the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Okay,
I mean,
whatever.
of course,
that's
as
not
Americans,
now is
we
the
know
Southern Poverty Law Center. I mean, you know what? If you're going to, like, I'm a professor and I'm a scholar, and you cite the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's so self-discrediting that I don't know what to say to that. I mean, that's not scholarship.
Well, you could replicate it. As a social scientist, you could replicate their research. They put it out there. There's the method.
It's political propaganda. I read it every single day. It's like one guy's opinion, working out his political beliefs. There's no scholarship in that. Go to the website.
Well,
if you think that's scholarship, then I don't want to send my kids to your school. I guess that's what I mean to say. No offense.
I'm sorry. But I do think that I think it's really important to emphasize that most Americans are anti-fascist. We have a history of fighting fascism. The American military was involved in World War II. That was violent anti-fascism, defeating Hitler. And so, insofar as there's a discussion about if that's where we're moving politically, students need to understand the history of it. Don't you want them to understand
they can learn the history of World War
II,
II, but this just seems totally hysterical to me. But, okay, we're going to have to leave it there. We're out of time. Professor, thanks for coming on.
Oh, sure.